Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive. Welcome to another new Moon Musings. And this new moon is for January, and it is happening on December 23rd. And I'm really excited to be tuning in to all of you, to the collective energies for all of you, to see what we've got coming up for this new moon cycle. And for those of you I've got that watch this on a regular basis, I've got the timestamps in there. If you want to skip my little intro, by all means, go to the first card. And for those of you who are watching for the first time, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. How the new moon works is we are in a kind of a new moon cycle. So we have the new moon, which is, no light to it. And then we move in through the various cycles and phases of the moon. So we have Waxing Crescent after that, the first quarter moon where we see only a quarter of the moon itself, Waning Gibbous, and then the full moon. This particular cycle is very much about the work and the effort that we're putting into something. The plan has already been made and we are now enacting it. And the full moon is the peak of that particular energy of, yes, let's go, let's be motivated, let's really put the effort in. And then after the full moon, we go into the waning phases. So we have Waning Gibbous, third quarter moon, Waning Crescent. So it doesn't mean that we're not doing anything during those times. It means more that it's very reflective. It's an opportunity to review the plan, review where things have been at, to restore our energy. We can tie up loose ends, but we're not in sort of go, go, go phase. We're more in that reflective observance phase and storing it up. Think of the bears who hibernate for winter. And with this particular reading that I do with the card spread, I also do a soul card. And this reflects the energies of the collective in terms of what is the soul path. What is it that the collective is working out and working through from a soul-based space. So again, everything is going to be time-stamped. And the way you might want to consider using this video is feel free to watch through it all the way to get sort of the gist of it and getting a nice flow. Mr. Neo is about to come in and say hello. So if you get an earthquake or a cat butt in the face, that's why. But the other reason is, yeah, there he goes, cat butt in the face. The other issue here is when we're going into this sort of soul card phase, when you're using this reading, you can also go into each of the phases. I said the soul card phase. I meant all of the other phases. You can revisit it at the times. And during the reading, I will give you the specific dates that you can really access what that energy is. So it helps you to, throughout the month, to refer back to it so that you can really get to the heart of the matter of what's going on for you. Because we know we're all one. And so what happens collectively eventually sort of trickles down into our individual spaces. So happy to be able to give you the reading for all of that and just give you the highlights. Now, let's get to the reading. Today, I am pulling cards from The Syrian Starseed by Patricia Corey. Loving these cards. I've had them for a really long time, and they're ginormous. So I'm just lucky that I have piano hands with long fingers. Otherwise, there would be sort of pop on top shuffling going on here, but they're ginormous. They're made for giants. So I'm going to pull our soul card first. And the soul card is, again, the energy of where things are at right now collectively, what collectively we are as a human race are working towards creating what we're in at the time, what we need to consider. And so we've got, Nine of Crystals. So Nine of Crystals is a Nine of Pentacles in the traditional tarot. And I love this because it is a card of joy, it is a card of gratitude, it is a card of success, achieving what you set out to achieve. So from a soul perspective, this month and this particular new moon cycle is really about focusing on what we already have, focusing on the joy, focusing on the gratitude. It's less about sticking to the plan and more about really being open to our intuition and enacting upon that intuition. So I often say thoughts become things, and they become things through how we are feeling about them, through how we are interacting with those energies. So 9 of Crystals as a soul card this month, I'm feeling that it is an opportunity for each of us to really be reflective of how we are feeling being a human on this planet. How are we feeling? How are you feeling as an individual? What are you tapping into as an individual? This isn't about, oh, I'm feeling lousy today, or I'm feeling uncomfortable, or I'm feeling... It's not about that from, I want to say, an individual perspective. It's really getting quiet and saying, as a collective, me being a part of this whole, I'm a drop in the ocean, but I am also the ocean. How do you separate a drop from the ocean? Once you put that drop back into the ocean, it becomes the ocean, right? So how do I feel being in that space and that situation? We are on the precipice of creating something new and something different in terms of how we are moving forward as a collective, as a society. What are our morals? What are our values? What do we stand for? How do we care for others? Are we a catch as catch can, I care only about me, every person for themselves? Or are we stop to help your fellow human being, hold the door open, pay for someone's coffee, all of those random acts of kindness that we find ourselves doing. It's really very common around this time of year because people are focused more on, I want to say, holiday season energy, but how can we actually carry that throughout the year? Let's not make it a one-time deal. And that is really what the essence of the soul, our collective soul, is saying, is let's expand. Let's expand based on how you are and what you value as a human being. Expand into that from the collective. It's not just what do I offer the people that are in my inner circle that I am faced with every day. It's how do I show up in that way for everyone? How do I show up in that way for all who I encounter? So the soul lesson, the soul energy I'm really feeling strongly is about focusing on how you feel in relation to how you're fitting in the world. And I don't mean fitting in terms of, oh, I have to fit in, I have to turn myself into a pretzel to be liked and approved of and to appease. No. This is how am I choosing to fit in? How do I want to contribute? I say this over and over and over again. I'm like a broken record with that. How do I want to contribute? And that's really what this is about this month. Okay, so our new moon card for December 23rd, and the new moon, interesting. The new moon is at 5:18 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on December 23rd. So it's occurring the day before all of the, Christmas Eve and the Christmas Day and the Christmassy Christmas stuff. If you happen to celebrate Christmas, if you celebrate another holiday, or if it just happens to be another day for you, the energy, the collective energy, especially if you live in North America, is going to be very focused on people, planning things, connecting with their loved ones, traveling to be with others. So there's a collective energy of hustle and bustle, but also of anticipation. So how are you feeling into the anticipation? And what I love about this is the new moon is 7 of crystals is what popped up. So heavy on the crystals, heavy on the pentacle energy. So thoughts become things. I was talking about that with our 9 of crystals. Thoughts become things through how we feel about it. So pentacle energy is the final draw. It's the thought that has now manifested into the physical. And when we have 7 of crystals, what I love about this card in traditional tarot, I talk about it as reaping rewards. It's sort of that, okay, the harvest is in. We know that we've got what we need, and we're really excited that the harvest is in, but now what is the effort that we have to put into harvesting what has come through, what has grown? There's still a lot of work that goes into this. So this is sort of a card of relief. Okay, I got what I need. But now it's, okay, where am I putting in my effort? Where am I putting in, what is the next level of work required? So new moon energy, I'm feeling really strongly that this new moon, people are really very much going to be in that space of evaluating what needs to transpire, how we are going to enact certain shifts and changes. I'm feeling very called to sort of bring up the global energy around war at this time. And we know that there are a lot of unfortunate things going on around the world. There's a lot of different wars going on around the world. The one that we are, I would say, very focused on right now is the one in Ukraine. And I'm feeling like the collective energy is going to be drawn to this war, and drawn to, okay, we need to put a stop to it. And it's not so much that we're going into world war, because that has happened in the past and then everybody gets involved. I feel like people are getting involved, but they're going to get involved in different ways. It's not about war on the ground. I feel like we're fighting a war, we're fighting a battle on a number of different fronts, a number of different levels. And the collective, we as humanity are stepping in and saying, well, we're going to vote with our wallets. We're going to vote with our feet. We're going to vote with our values and morals and what we choose to put our focus and attention to. And so the focus and attention can be, as it has been for quite some time, helping those who are being attacked, rather than aiding those that are instigating or initiating the problems. I'm also feeling collectively there's a lot that is transpiring around revolution, the energy of revolution. And so for each of us, from a collective perspective, I'm thinking of Iran, what's going on in Iran, the women's, I'm going to call it the women's movement in Iran, because there's been a lot for many, many years. There's been a lot of suppression, and women are finally standing up now and saying no more, and they're taking great risks to do so, risking their lives, their very lives, the very breath, the air that they breathe, knowing that they and their families could be greatly affected, and yet they're still standing up and saying, I have to do this. Now's the time. We need to move forward. So from a collective perspective, what you want to be sort of aware of in the new moon energy is there's going to be this feeling of something needs to be done and I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to take a stand, or I'm ready to investigate what I can do. I'm ready to put my money where my mouth is, or I'm ready to volunteer, to spread the word or to lend a helping hand, in whatever capacity you feel called to contribute and to stand up in. This is going to be the collective energy. And then from an individual perspective, like I said, it's you recognizing what's going on in the collective and then reflecting into the collective what change you would like to see, and understanding, there's work involved, but it can be done. And that's the energy of this card. The harvest is in. The fruit is on the trees, and it's healthy fruit. It's delicious, and there's going to be plenty this year, right? So this isn't it's a picky harvest and we're in trouble. This is, no, we got what we need. It's now a matter of, sort of organizing how we're going to make use of it, organizing how we're going to gather those resources and dole them out, divvy them out. 7 is a very magical number in that it is divine, is the number of the divine. And I feel like the message coming through here is it is divinely inspired, that we are now finally able to really truly manifest, to bring into our reality what we can envision in our minds. And I feel like this is really what is coming up and coming through around that global energy of witnessing things that we know need to shift and change, and feeling powerful, feeling hopeful, feeling that I can make this step and it makes a change. It makes a difference. It matters. I feel like that's really, really important. So we're going to want to take advantage of that energy through the new moon. And the new moon lasts, that energy, we sit in it for about 3 days. So Waxing Crescent. So I've got the number here as December 26th. But again, some of us may feel the phases last a little longer than others. Some of us may be right on target with it. So it's not an exact science. It's more of a flow. So being in the flow of the waxing crescent, and that is December 26th. So let's see what we got. Ooh, and the cards just all popped out. So I've got Sage of Chalices. So in this card, Sage is queens. Queen energy, Sage of Chalices. Chalices are cups, cup energy. So we've got Queen of Cups. And I'm feeling here when we're talking about the waxing crescent on December 26th, from a collective energy, we are really going to be paying attention to our feelings, but we are paying attention to our feelings from a place of mastery. So, the Queen brings a lot of order to chaos. The Queen brings a lot of structure to what is unstructured, but she does it with heart. She does it with feeling. She does it with the understanding that there is a level of compassion that is required, regardless of what's going on. We need to have, to use the analogy of the war, we need to have compassion for both sides. Because if you look at it, yeah, you may agree with one side or the other, but there is also a collective, and we've experienced this through different world wars and civil wars and things of that nature. It rarely solves anything, and both sides come out losing. Both sides come out with major losses and a lot of concessions and a lot of stain on their soul, a lot of heavy collective, sort of blood on your hands type thing, literally and figuratively. So Queen of Cups is coming through from a collective energy to say, all of that observance that you're doing, all of that planning, and the feeling confident that I can do this and I am going to make a difference. Even if I see that it's a small difference, I'm going to make a difference. Queen of Cups comes through to say, awesome. So grateful to see your compassion, so grateful to see your connection to the collective, to what is going on. And now I'm going to make sure that you can enact what it is that you want to enact, and that it is going to go far. And from an individual perspective, you're going to feel in this particular period of time, the phrase that's coming to my mind is set in your ways. So this is like, you're going to feel confident. You're going to feel maybe even stubborn in a positive way that, okay, yeah, I know that there may be some work involved in this. I might not like the particular structure that is required to make this happen, but I really like the outcome that this is going to bring. And so I'm all in with that structure. I'm all in. It's kind of like that energy of resolve. And I feel like in this particular period of time, sort of the December 26th, and this is going to go December 26th to December 29th, 30th sort of energy. What I'm really feeling with this is there's a lot of news that's going to be coming out that's going to, I feel like for as much positive, good news, there's going to be then the negative news that tries to suck the life or the joy or the win, out of the good news, the happy news, the joyful news. And it's going to be up to each of us to really pay attention to what works for me. What do I really want to be filling my soul with? What do I really want to be using to fuel my fire? Do I want to use the negativity to fuel my fire, or do I want to use the positivity and the light? And I'm going to say there's no right or wrong answer. If you are a person that sees that negativity and says, oh, okay, let me show you just how wrong you are, that motivates you in a positive way. Some of you, the negativity weighs you down and causes hopelessness, or causes that energy of, oh, I'm just not, I don't know that anything I do is going to make a difference. And then you get heavy and you don't do anything at all. Be aware of how that's showing up in your world and in your space. Be aware of that. Be aware of you. And how you are, thank you, Neil, how you are affected in particular, and then use what works for you. Use what works best. Queen of Cups is coming through to say, I've got you. I've got you supported. This is not you going to be capsized by all that you're seeing. You might be seeing some really heavy stuff you might be seeing some things that cause a great wave of emotion, but that emotion then brings you to your own personal resolve where you say, and now I'm really moving forward. Now I'm really enacting upon my values. Now I'm really stepping in and saying, here's what I'm willing to do to go the extra mile, to bring some assistance, to put a stop to whatever this is. And we're not doing it from a warlike perspective. We're doing it from a place of resolve. This goes for our individual lives as well. I don't mean to be talking about the war, and I want to just clarify, this is the energy that's in the collective. So yes, there is specific war, there is revolution that's going on that we are all paying attention to, but that trickles down into our everyday because we're all feeling it. We're all feeling into that. Even if that doesn't directly affect you in the now, it is actually directly affecting you in the energetic. And it depends on how aware you are of that and aware you are of how your energy is and how you are affected deeply by your energy and the collective that's going to help you to navigate this. Okay, first quarter moon. So this is on December 29th. Oh yeah, and I dropped all the cards. I just remembered. So I have to, never a dull moment. Never a dull moment in this house. Never a dull moment with the Black Feather Intuitive Readings. Not gonna lie, last month's was just a shit show. I don't even know what was happening. I was in some other realm or dimension. Ask me to deal with timing and forget it, I'm lost. Okay, so first quarter moon, I love it, strength. So getting the strength card is really about, I want to say for each of us, it's going into that inner child work. And I feel that when we're talking about first quarter moon, December 29th, this is bringing us right into the new year. And it's not so much that, oh my God, we need strength in order to, sort of to move into that next period of time, that next chapter for us collectively. It's more like, okay, we're moving. A lot of us are going to be excited that 2022 is done. A lot of us are going to be grateful for 2022. Some of us might not want it to be over. Some of us might have some trepidation, in the collective, especially on a North American perspective. There's a lot of fear around finance. So this is saying, don't get caught up in that and think, oh, I have to, bolster myself up and put on my warrior garb in order to go into 2023. That's not what this is about. It's actually saying, how can I connect to the inner child beforehand? How can I be preemptive about really involving my inner child? And let's talk about the inner child. Inner child is connected to our egos. Ego spaces. And it's interesting because strength is very connected to Leo energy as well. Leo energies, they're loud and proud, they're out there, they're all heart, they're in service, all the rest of it. I feel like when we're inviting in the inner child and we're inviting in that sort of space into that place. And it's funny because I actually see that a lot of us have kind of done some of this work. Just in the last couple of months, we've already been sort of reconnecting to that inner child space. Or, I talk about the inner child being connected to the ego. It's the ego voice. And the ego voice has been wounded. That's where we feel our wounds. That's where our identity is, how we choose to show up in the world. And if you're showing up through your wounded space, you're bringing that wound to you. You're bringing other people who are wounded as well, or you guys are going to clash. Your wounds are going to clash, or you're going to trigger the crap out of one another so that those wounds can be realized and released. Inner child, because you've done a lot of this work already, egoically, especially in our Scorpio season. Holy cannoli. It's been intense for a lot of us. Now what you want to do is you want to say, okay, moving into this new year, I'm going to make it a point to bring my inner kid along with me. It's not about, putting them in the in the proverbial closet or in, putting them in the drawer for later. This is our whole purpose right now is wholeness, bringing the spiritual and the energetic and melding it into the physical, the emotional, the mental, into our lives. It is wholeness. It is connecting to our magic that has always been within us and bringing it out and about, experiencing that, exploring that. So this is saying you can choose that before you even go into 2023. You get to choose this. You get to say, okay, ego voice, inner child, let's have some fun this year. And let's really open up to what that looks like. How can I bring you more into the fold and into the fray? So this first quarter, December 29th, is a great time for you to directly connect with that inner child. Call it your wounds, call it your ego. It's integration. And it's integration intuitively and intentionally. And sometimes it does take strength to invite those parts of yourself in. But I feel like the strength is more along the lines of facing what we see head on, not burying our heads in the sand. And that's what it's about. And that's the energy of December 29th. It's I'm looking at the fear head on. Or I'm just looking at the problem head on, and I am connecting to the various solutions head on. I'm opening myself to that. I'm not, I won't think about that today. I'll think about that tomorrow. I'm dealing with it. And I'm dealing with it with confidence. I feel like that's really important. All right, so now we have our waxing gibbous moon, and this is January 3rd. So happy New Year. We are now officially in year 2023. Love it. Master of Chalices. So far we've got Pentacles and we've got Cups. So this is very much about heart, a lot of heart, and heart being realized in the physical. So Master of Chalices is the King of Cups. So we just had Queen of Cups. Now we've got the partner. We've got King of Cups. And when we're talking about this waxing gibbous January 3rd, what I'm feeling is collectively there's really going to be an energy of the mastering of your emotions, but also from the perspective of benevolence. So there's a benevolence to this. We talked about compassion with the Queen. Now there is benevolence with this master energy. And by the way, this doesn't have to be, king and queen in terms of gender. It's just sort of the energy of the card. So this is the next level. You've got the structure and the organization there. Now it's interesting. I talked about being a drop in the ocean. The ocean becomes the drop becomes the ocean. Master of Chalices. You are recognizing that, okay, there is a new precipice, there is a new energy. It's almost like when the ball drops, everything shifts, and we really, I want to say collectively say goodbye to the energies of 22. There's not really going to be a whole lot of a blending of that. I feel like 2023, the energy is going to be completely different. Also, 2023 is a 7-year. And I mentioned, 7 when we got the 7 of crystals, that 7 is important. So we are stepping into a 7-year collectively. And that means that we are very much in a space from that soul card space, the 9 of crystals, and focusing on joy. We're doing that because there's still a lot of work that's going into it. I talk about phoenix phases all the time. Collectively, we are in a phoenix emerging phase. We are in the birth canal. The phoenix growing, we've been in the phoenix growing for a couple of years now. That's the womb, where everything just burned to the ground and we didn't have a vision for who we were, where we were going. Well, now we kind of are starting to have vision. We're starting to have reasons to pay attention, to look around at what we see and decide, do we want to continue on this path or do we want to create something new? Master of Chalices says, connect with the heart space. Connect with that ocean of emotion. Get very clear on exactly how you feel from a value perspective and enact that. So January 3rd, it's very much collectively people are going to be in this space of, you know what? And it's resolution time, right? A lot of people look at it from resolution. Some people hate resolutions, and I'm all about that too. It's just reflection on where you've been, where you're at, and where you're going. And we are doing that collectively. And we are all drops in the ocean, and it's the same freaking ocean. So how do you want to connect with that? And that benevolence is there because I feel like there's a gentle energy for all of us when we are doing our own personal reflecting. And there's going to be a gentleness when we are reflecting individually, and I want to say reflecting our reflections into the collective. We have so much harshness. We have so much chaos right now. It's kind of like if any of you have ever had an anxiety attack or a panic attack. The best thing for you in that time is to have someone around you that is calm, that speaks to you in a very calm, soothing fashion, maybe just strokes your head or holds your hand, just remains calm. This is what we need. This is what we need to do with the collective. This is what we need to contribute into the collective. And this is what we need to do for ourselves individually, is be the calm in the eye of the storm, right? That's benevolence. You do you. I'm not judging you. I'm watching the scenario and the situation, and I'm just sending so much helpful energy. I'm willing to step in as needed, but I also respect that there is something bigger than what you and I and, Joe and Sally can ultimately have going on in our own lives. There's something bigger here. And Master of Chalices is coming through with that. It's benevolence and it's awareness of all of us as part of the ocean. And the ocean is vast, right? It's that you want to think of the ocean as our soul. It's the ocean of soul. It's the ocean of source. That's really the energy of what we're stepping into. Okay. Full moon this month is on January 6th. Oh, you guys are going to love this. So our full moon card is the moon, Luna. So this makes a lot of sense. Full moon energy, this moon in particular, because it is a moon that is in Capricorn, Capricorn tends to be a heavier energy overall. Like it's the sign that is the builder. It's the sign that takes on a lot of responsibility. It's the sign that, always sees what needs to be shifted and changed. And it really takes responsibility for it. Says, I've got to get in there and do it. And sometimes I feel, especially in this particular time and in this particular energy, because we are collectively, globally looking at this, okay, moving into a new year, a new you, all of that kind of stuff, with that Capricornian, I don't know if that's the proper way to say it, energy that is foundational to it, there's this reflection of, wow, there's so much to do. And I want to say the moon is coming through to help you to recognize that not everything is as it seems. So it may feel like, yeah, there's a lot to do. And let's face it, there is a lot to do. We have a lot of changes that need to be made in order to really see a lot of change. But that's what we're here. We're here on the front lines to make that happen. It's less about focusing on timing and more about focusing on one foot in front of the other. And Luna is showing up during this particular time, so January 6th and on, is to say, you know what? Not everything is as it seems. So it may seem really dark. It may seem dank. It may feel extremely heavy. But there's also an illusion to this. The moon casts a different light on things than the sun does. And the moon's light can sometimes be distortive or illusory. It gives you that impression. You think it's one thing, but when you actually get up to up close to the item or the object or the person, you see it differently. So the moon is coming through with support to say, hey, yeah, you are being asked to reflect on what needs to be built. You are being asked to reflect on what has yet to be accomplished or, focusing on the plan that we are all in collectively. But it doesn't mean that you have to, the moon I feel is coming through to say, let's be hopeful about it. Let's be hopeful about it. The moon is also all about intuition. And so it's inviting all of us to say, go in intuitively, because intuitively, collectively, intuitively. So we have our own intuition, and then we have the collective intuition. When you tap into the collective, and most people that are in the collective are not tapping into the collective intuition. People watching this, you have the ability because you have awareness of energy. You have awareness of that bigger picture. Tap into the collective intuition. Use it. Open it. Reflect into it. Share it. Because others need to see it, even if they're not capable at this time of generating it for themselves. That is our purpose, that we can reflect that into the collective, because we do have that awareness and that knowledge and that understanding that there might be an illusion going around here. It might be illusory. And yeah, it looks darkest before the dawn, but let me share with you what the dawn looks like. Let me give you the visions of what I've seen or what I create in my mind. Collectively, it's time for all of us to step in and share a little bit more with one another the happiness and the joy. I'm not saying bypass. I'm not saying Pollyanna and everything is awesome. I'm saying if we continue to talk about all of the things that are going wrong, we're going to continue to focus on things that are going wrong, and we're going to be letting the universe know constantly that we still are focused on what's wrong. And so we're constantly going to be brought things that give us the opportunity to focus on what is going right. So let's skip that step. It's kind of like, let's get rid of the middleman, right? Let's just go straight to the source. And the source says, focus on the positive, focus on what you can create, because full moon energy is manifestation energy. This is the time when the energy is so potent. This is the time when you want to say, yeah, this is what I really want to bring into my next month. This is what I want to bring into my next year. This is what I want to bring into life in general. This is what I want to see for people moving forward and for myself. So it's really important to step into that. Okay, Waning Gibbous, January 10th. Another crystal, folks, 6 of crystals. And this is going to be super easy to tune into. It's a reinvestment into the collective. And I feel like that's on an individual level. Each of us at this time is really going to have the opportunity to truly invest in the collective. And I'm going to say this to each of us who are, myself included, who are empaths, who are sensitives, who are, your path and your purpose is very clear about this. You're connected to your spiritual energy, all the rest of it. There is this, I need to step outside of the collective in order to gather my thoughts, in order to protect my energy, in order to, sort of figure out where I'm at. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. Because let me tell you, I'm a big introvert, and I suck back my energy every chance I get when I'm in that space and I need it. This is a collective message that January 10th, it is not a time for us to suck back our energy. It's not a time for us to step into that space of we have to protect ourselves. It is a time to rejoin the collective, and to do it with intention, and to do it with open hearts and a lot of love. It's reconnecting. And I'm not saying that, none of us have reconnected at this point. 2022 was in many ways about reconnecting, restoring some level of alignment to the new path. This is now saying it's time to reinvest in the collective. The last couple of years has been about reinvesting in self, getting clear on where we're at individually. A lot of people during COVID recognized, this is not the life that I want to be living. I want to have more joy, more time to myself, all of those things. So this is now a time to say, okay, I've done the work on myself, and now it's time to reassert myself and reinsert myself into the collective, because the collective needs each and every one of your energy. I'm giving you this message right now, and in Stacy mind, I'm eye rolling and going, no! But I'm feeling that that's basically what's going to be happening. And when I really just allow that to sort of filter through my body, it makes a lot of sense. And it's also not saying that we're not going to have the energy, or it's going to be a big fight or a big struggle to do it. It's saying Queen of Cups, Queen of Chalices, a Sage of Chalices in this instance. I've got you. I'm not asking you to do anything that you don't have the capacity to do. So hold on to that. Okay, so now we've got our, what was that? That was Waning So now we're at our third quarter. Third quarter is January 14th, and we've got Master of Crystals. Folks, we have not received a single card, with the exception of the Strength card, which is a major arcana, that is not crystals or chalices. So, and we've got a couple of card pulls left here, but this is serious. This is really talking about manifesting the heart into the physical world. And needing to do it in a very physical way, needing to do it in a benevolent way, and needing to do it in a very physical way. So Master of Crystals, this is the king, traditionally the King of Pentacles. So a lot of stability, a lot of security. There's an energy here when we're talking about the Master of Crystals where this is an energy that nothing can take this energy down. Nothing can slow this energy down. This is an individual who feels very confident in, what? We've laid out the plan, we've done the work, and I trust that everything's going to work itself out. And if it doesn't go according to plan, I'm not getting flummoxed about it, because I know that whatever is showing up for us at this time is actually part of the plan. So there's an energy here when we're talking about this third quarter moon. There's an energy here because you are in a more reflective phase right now. This is a phase of hibernation, in essence, sort of a slight hibernation or a recharge, a restore, because you're getting ready to amp up for the next new moon cycle where you will be, more activated, action-oriented. Master of Crystals says, you know what? Everything's going to happen in its own way, in its own pace. Everything's going to happen in its own time. We don't need to put worry into this. I have no worry. I have no fear. I'm the master of the universe here. I got everything I need. And no matter what is going on, I've got a contingency plan for all of it. So collectively, what I'm feeling here is coming up during this particular time is inviting everyone to say, if I knew that everything was going to work out, if I knew that I was completely 150% safe, if I knew that every step I took, every thought I had was going to come to fruition in terms of what I view, wish, hope, see for the collective, how would that change how I approach my world right now? And I can tell you right now, for me personally, if I knew 150% that, I got all my needs met, money is flowing, everything's good, there is so much that I would be creating and putting out into the world for the whole world, whoever wanted it, to present itself, to take advantage of, to learn from, to experience, to enjoy. Where do I get held back? Trust. I don't always trust the universe, right? I get caught in my own head. My ego goes, but wait a second. How can that even be? How is that possible? Master of Crystals is coming up at this time to say collectively, you've got nothing to worry about. Again, Sage of Chalices, we got you covered. Master of Crystals, we've got you covered. Everything you need is right there. So take the risk. Dive on in. Move forward. It doesn't mean you have to, throw it all, throw the dice and I always say gamble your mortgage payment away, right? Or gamble your house away. That's not what this is. It's more of I'm taking a risk in trusting Source completely. How many of us truly trust Source completely? I know for me, doing what I do, sharing what I share with you guys, I struggle with that one too. I'm good when I'm good, and when I'm not good, it's difficult. And I imagine a lot of us are in that same boat. So this is an invitation to trust. Trust in Source. Source is not going to let you down. Source is going to provide you with exactly what you need to get the job done. And finally, we have our Waning Crescent, January 17th. And so this is happening just a few days before the new moon, and we are preparing for that new moon cycle. And okay, it's the first card that's not a chalice or a crystal. So we've got 6 of orbs. And orbs in this deck is swords. So it's the realm of the mind, mental energy. It's intuition. It is deeply connected to the heart. It is our second 6. So we are talking about, I think it is our I think we got another 6. Yeah, we did. So we had 2 7s and 2 6s. So we're definitely in, I want to say, sort of in a sequence of that harvest energy. The harvest has come in, and now we're just preparing for the work that's going into it. 6 is harmony, balance, and alignment. And this card is a card of support. It's a card of rest. It's a card of, you know what? Just step in the boat and let me take you across. You don't have to oar the boat anymore. I can see that you're exhausted. Take a break. Just enjoy the scenery. And this particular deck, it's reflecting in the dolphins. And dolphins are highly intelligent, and they're all about play, playfulness. They love to play with one another. They love to play with humans. They love laughter. They even laugh themselves. They have that in their languaging. So I feel like when we're talking about this waning crescent, January 17th, with all of the stuff that we've kind of been in collectively and really needing to reassert ourselves and insert ourselves into the collective, 6 of Orbs is coming up to say, okay, you are aligning. You're aligning with this new direction from a human perspective. You're aligning with the new direction collectively, but you need to bring a little more fun, a little more playfulness into it. It doesn't always have to be serious because you're burning yourselves out. And this is a card that reflects, I'm at that burnout and I just need someone to say, I got you. And we've got that. Sage, we got a Sage and a Master, both of chalices. So, Pentacles energy, the King and Queen are stepping up to say, we got you. Come into the kingdom, rest, partake of our food, sit at our table, enjoy our entertainment, talk with everybody that you want to talk with. This is a safe place. And this, I feel, ultimately is what we are working towards, is understanding that collectively we are trying to bring safety into the world. We're trying to make it a safe place for everyone to live their lives and to participate in the ways that they choose to participate, to learn their soul lessons in the ways they choose to learn their soul lessons. So this part of, the sort of the end of this particular new moon cycle, working us into the next new moon phase, from a Capricornian perspective, it's saying, yeah, there is a lot that needs to be built, but a lot more is going to be built through fun, through frolic, through play. You can have serious play. What's the saying? Sorry, I'm going to swear here, so spoiler alert. You catch more flies with honey than you do with the shit. And yeah, the shit is the fertilizer. That's what we've been in. And I'm not saying that we're jumping out of it, in this new moon cycle. I'm saying we're aware of it and we're saying, how can I use it to my advantage? I'm going to use honey instead. I'm going to use honey instead, and I'm going to trust that Source is bringing me this bit of reprieve, bringing me this bit of relief, and this beautiful reminder that the new world can be built on joy, can be built on laughter and playfulness, that a lot more will be accomplished in those ways, because it is our natural way of being. It is us as, I want to say, it's our souls realized. That's really what it is. So that is our new moon reading for January. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. If you like what you see here, feel free to like, subscribe, and click the bell on my YouTube channel. Please, again, feel free to come back to this throughout the month to connect with each of the different times. Everything is going to be time stamped. And you'll notice it's a collective reading, but you'll start to really notice how it sort of trickles into your individual path as well. So I support you and encourage you to use this tool in that way, because it is a tool to help you to, I want to say, navigate the energies and to just understand the energies of what is coming through. And speaking of energy, if you're going through some transformation, I mean, we all are. We're all in some phase of it. And yes, we are collectively and we are also individually. And if you're struggling, consider joining my membership community, Ignite Your Wings Wisdom for Transformation. It is consistent support, monthly support, and actually it's weekly. I'm releasing stuff weekly into that membership community that gives you a lot of wisdom and guidance around the transformation journey. And it's all about the phoenix. So we talk about the different phases of the phoenixes, and each of us is a unique phoenix personality type, and there's so much information in there to help you to understand yourself through these transformative phases and to lift you up. So you know what you can, you know how to navigate, and what you're prepared for. You can really prepare for what is coming up and coming through so that you can be successful. So check out Ignite Your Wings Wisdom for Transformation. There's also a free quiz that you can take on my website, theblackfeatherintuitive.com. It's called Find Your Phoenix. And that'll give you some information on how you deal with, connect with change and transformation while in this lifetime. So check it all out. I hope to see you guys there. Have an amazing month and transform well. We'll see you soon.